my name is Claire and I decided to make this video because I spend around 5 hours and 30 minutes each day on my phone and 10 hours and 30 minutes on all my devices in a day. I'm really embarrassed to admit this, so I wanted to make this video so that I could actually commit to this week of replacing all of my doom scrolling with better intentioned hobbies. So I've given myself a set of goals that I have to follow over the next week. Number one is no short form content. I'm going cold turkey on this because I know if I give myself 15 minutes, it'll turn into 3 hours. Number two, that sort of in between time you spend on the day like scrolling or on your phone, I'm going to try and replace that with reading. When I was a little kid, I used to be such a voracious reader. I remember I'd spend hours after when I was supposed to go to bed just reading. My mom would confiscate all of my lamps and all my light sources so that I wouldn't be able to read. I would use a little light on my heating pad. This little light, I would hold that right to my book and it would only illuminate a few words at a time because it was such a weak light. I want to be a voracious reader again. So that's why before the challenge started, I got my little butt to the library, checked out a whole bunch of books. Number three, I have to enjoy things at their normal pace. I feel like my brain just needs constant color and stimulation to feel satiated. So I get really bored whenever I'm watching something or listening to a podcast at regular time speed. Anytime during like a show when there's not dialogue and it's just sort of long shots of the environment to capture the ambiance, I'll just skip right past that. And I think I'm really robbing myself of experiencing art. At this point, it feels like I'm not even watching things for my enjoyment. I'm just trying to get through the plot as fast as I can. Number four, every day of this week, I would like to create or engage in some form of art myself, whether that's playing an instrument or drawing or scrapbooking or anything at all that involves my hands. I'm gonna exclude editing because a lot of it is just repetitive motions, but I will include designing like the little doodles and transition slides that I want to use for my videos. Number five is no screen time during the first hour and during the last hour of every day. And I know this is gonna be the hardest rule for me to follow because I truly have a phone addiction, and when I don't check my phone in the morning, I feel really nervous and on edge. I also think this will be probably one of the most rewarding parts of this challenge. So this brings us to our current point where I'm looking for books at the library. I'm gonna give a quick run through of all the books I got. Starting off, I have Dandelion by Jamie Chai Liu. The next one is called Lullabies for Little Criminals by Heather O'Neill. Circe by Madeline Miller. I know this is a book talk book. There's a couple of book talk books here. Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley. I know I'm not gonna like this book. Actually, I want to go into this with a positive mindset. Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. Alice Munro, My Best Stories. Whereabouts by Jhumpa Lahiri. Don't know what this book is about. I just saw Lahiri and I snatched her. Paradise by Toni Morrison. The Sympathizer by Viet Tung Nguyen. Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. To Paradise by Hanya Ganigahara. First Person Singular Stories by Murakami. So that's a quick run through of all of the books I got. So today is Monday. In the morning, I had to use my phone because I had an interview this morning. Ended up scrolling for like 15 minutes. But one positive thing, instead of watching Stranger Things during lunch, I read one of my library books. Is it because Stranger Things wouldn't load? Yes. But once I started, I was like, this is so easy. So for dinner, I'm also going to read too because the idea is a little bit less intimidating now. And then in the evening, I'm going to Alexi's band concert, which I'm so excited about. And I realized that it kind of falls under this theme. I'm going to consume art. Taylor and I are going to cheer for Alexi. He's bringing flowers. I'm bringing lemon tarts. It's going to be so fun. I've decided that I'm going to spend the next like 30 minutes or so just like copy and paste some cute little stickers from Pinterest that I want to scrapbook and print them out.
That's like, there's a great shot. Look at her, she's so into it too. Okay.
What event are we at?
Okay. We are at Alexi's concert. Ring, 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 ring. Hold up, is that a saxophone?
Sorry, was I not?
Yes.
How are you feeling? I think it was good. I'm proud of us. It's really hot in here.
Yeah.
I was like sweat pouring on my face. Yeah. But I think it did good. I definitely messed up a lot. And there was one song where I didn't play at all. Like I did play, but I was like, fuck, I'm gonna sit here.
That's okay.
But
Girl.
it was good.
It's Tuesday. I just woke up. I didn't go on my phone for like an hour and a half and I read Little Fires Everywhere. I felt really good when I woke up and I didn't immediately go for my phone. The temptation was definitely there. I left my phone on my kitchen counter last night. I could feel a gravitational pull towards my phone when I went into the kitchen and I started making breakfast. I was like walking around my phone with some buffer. Genuinely, it felt sinister. I looked away and grabbed my phone and chucked it across the room, and then I didn't feel that pull anymore. I think I'm feeling a bit euphoric. I think that sense of dread you get from scrolling on your phone has become my state of normalcy in mornings now. So now that I'm not feeling that dread, I feel so happy and free right now. After my hour and a half of reading and making breakfast, I did end up going on my phone. I needed to look up Wicked showtimes because that is my consuming art for the day activity today, and I'm so excited. We're gonna watch Wicked. I feel so free. I swear I'm not being dramatic. All right, girl, we're on the way. I'm really excited. Guys, I decided for this day that my little activity is going to be doing some iPad doodles, drawing some things that I want to include in this video. It's been a while since I've used my iPad, which is kind of sad because I was so excited to get it. I've got my knockoff Apple Pencil. We're gonna do some doodling together. This is what I have so far. She's not much. I basically just wrote things, but this is satisfying my creative needs. Hi guys. It is currently Wednesday. I never gave a bit of reflection yesterday, so I didn't cry, which is unlike me because I will always cry. I honestly found myself getting bored. I think that's more because my attention span is completely shot. And it was when I got into the soundtrack and when I was reading the lyrics of that song, Who Can Say I've Been changed for the better. I started crying because I was like, wait, I fully didn't understand the premise. I didn't understand how tragic it was that Elfie, she spent her whole life being this very determined and tenacious and going against the grain, raising awareness, fighting against the system, and at the end she realizes that no matter how hard she fights, she doesn't have the political power, she doesn't have the influence that Glinda does in order to actually enact change. Now she's realizing that her dream of enacting change is something even bigger than herself, and she has to, hand the keys to her best friend slash frenemy. Yesterday, like I said, didn't use my phone when I woke up in the morning, felt really good. I did end up on my laptop before I went to bed. I was watching Stranger Things. Oh gosh. Okay, Claire, what is the point of this challenge if you don't follow it? I swear, hand to heart, for the rest of this week, I'm not gonna go on my devices in the morning or in the night. During the night, for some reason, time where my brain just needs stimulation, the process of falling asleep, sometimes I'll just put a show on because I just cannot bear the 30 minutes it takes to fall asleep where you're just not stimulated. And then my phone ran out of storage, but please enjoy this clip I recorded of my very talented friend when I went to visit her. For my little activity today, I'm going to play some piano. I was inspired by my friend Allison today. I get stuck in this vicious cycle where it starts off with pretty much spending the entirety of my day on my devices. All of my free time is spent doom scrolling, and then I'll have a moment of self-awareness, which then launches me into a brief but intense phase where I try and maximize every minute. I need to replace all my doom scrolling with productive habits. I need to listen to an audiobook while I clean the dishes or a podcast while I'm driving, and it starts feeling like a constant battle I'm fighting with myself, where time starts to feel like a form of capital and a weapon to beat myself with. And no matter what I'm doing, it always feels like I'm wasting it and I'm never spending it right. I'll put everything on 2x speed because the thought of committing the next 20 minutes to a YouTube video is too substantial, but somehow the hours that slip away on TikTok never seem to register until I close the app. The point of this ramble is I just wanted to establish for myself that this video isn't just the hyper-productive phase of my recurring cycle where I try to maximize every minute, but an effort to be more intentional with my free time and to do something I actually enjoy. The activities I engage in this week aren't necessarily meant to develop a skill, but to leave me with a feeling of gratification that lasts longer than the temporary dopamine scrolling gives me. I finished Little Fires Everywhere at around like 3 and last night I did stay up late. The story takes place in this little community called Shaker Heights, which is very idyllic. Everything's planned. There's this family, the Richardsons, and they're this picture perfect upper middle class family, and they start renting to this woman who's an artist and her daughter, and eventually the daughter and one of the Richardsons' kids, they become really close friends. She gets to know all the different siblings. I was so surprised because I thought that Lexi, who is the oldest Richardson daughter, I thought she was just going to be this very static character who ends up becoming much like her mom, taking advantage of that heirloom privilege, but she ends up going through this extremely traumatic event, which lends her more perspective. I think Lexi ended up becoming my favorite character, which I so wasn't expecting. The entitlement of Mrs. Richardson is just insane. At some point when she's trying to dig up the past of Mia, she compares her to a car, and she's like, you know, just like how you deserve to know the history of a car and what accidents it's been in, she also deserves to know what sort of history Mia has. Lily makes the comparison of Mia to an object. People who are not in her social class feel less like people and more like pawns or some vehicle for her to feel good about herself or to get further in life. All right, let's say goodbye. Bye. Oh, bye. Okay, Andrew, we go on a walk? Hi guys, for today, I can't lie, I did not do anything creative, but I think I'm gonna do some editing, and I know I said that wouldn't count, but let me defend myself a little bit. The reason why I wasn't gonna include editing was because most of the time when I edit, it's a lot of monotonous keyboard pressing and mouse dragging, but right now I feel really inspired to edit, and I have some ideas I want to try. I want to like put in my friend's voice memo as a background. I think that would be really cute. So just for today, I'm gonna include editing as a creative endeavor. Hey guys, my activity of the day is going to be drawing, which I'm really excited about because I have not drawn in a long time, and it used to be something I really loved doing as a kid. I'm gonna do some scrolling on Pinterest and find some inspo pics. We're gonna spend a little time drawing together.
I was listening to a Bingetopia podcast the other day where they were talking about how we live in a regime of convenience and how we end up losing out on the joy of actually engaging art and media when it's sort of just placed in our hands by the algorithm. Like when I put on my Spotify Pink Pilates Princess Cowgirl late night day list, it removes this sort of actionable engagement where I seek out artists and listen to an entire musician's discography and slowly fall in love with someone's work. And this was kind of devastating to reflect about because music has always been such a huge and necessary part of my life. Remember as a kid, my mom would confiscate all of my listening devices. I'm noticing a bit of a pattern here, and I would collect anything that I could get my hands on. The earbuds you get on planes that used to be free, a pair of earbuds I scavenged from my high school and I used those for a while. Kind of gross, but a girl's gotta do what she's gotta do. Or I would just hold my phone up to my ear for extended periods of time while I was studying so I could keep listening to music. My parents are really sensitive to sound, so in car rides, I would turn on the music and I would turn the volume really low so they couldn't hear it, and just glue my ear to the speaker next to my feet. As I was like thinking about this and reflecting, I was both impressed and a little bit horrified at my own stubbornness and also commitment, I suppose. Now listening to music is so easy. There's no friction at all. With streaming platforms, you have access to a limitless amount of music, and counterintuitively, I also find myself no longer putting in an effort to get to know new artists. I'll just throw on a curated playlist from Spotify because that's what's easy. And I find myself missing the sort of commitment and vigor I had when I was a kid, back when my options were scarce, but the few albums I had on iTunes I listened to on repeat every single day. It felt so much more special, whereas now a lot of the time I feel like I just put on music because I need something to stay stimulated. The leather store right now, and I've never
been in a store like this. So for my last day, I ended up making Louise Carmen inspired journals, which is something I've been meaning to make for a while now. Christmas spurred me into action. I acquired all the materials, leather, a grommet kit, elastic cord. I watched a bunch of tutorials before and while I made the journals, but I kept on running into issues that made me not able to follow any specific tutorial to a T. For example, I printed out these templates, but they printed out too small, so I ended up just using the lengths of the paper as a guide rather than the actual guide itself. And because I wanted it a little bit longer, I kind of just made up the measurements, and it still turned out good. So there's a lot of room for error. I was pretty shocked at how easy this project was because it had daunted me for a good couple months. The first notebook I made probably took an hour and a half because I was figuring things out for the first time, but by the time I was on my third, I banged that one out in 15 minutes. I ended up not having enough leather to make myself a notebook, so I went back to the leather store, and I thought I bought the same type of leather, but this one ended up being a lot thicker and harder to penetrate. So each grommet probably took about 10 minutes to get through, depending on how hard I was hammering and how willing I was to risk the health of my hand. The one I made for myself took several days, many injuries, and an assist from my dad. This is me showing you my new notebook. Love her. Hi guys, it's quite a while later, actually hoping to upload this video today, and I thought I'd give some final reflections. I ended up having a lot of fun in the process of doing it. I got to engage in a lot of hobbies that I haven't picked up in a long time. Have I played piano since that one time I played it? No, but I have actually integrated reading more regularly into my life. I thought my attention span was so completely destroyed that I wouldn't be able to stay entertained by a book. The first like 10 to 20 minutes reading, I just kept on getting distracted. I would do the thing where you read a page and then you're like, what did I just read? My mind was not here. But guys, I apologize. This reflection isn't very cohesive. I keep on running out of storage, and I swear I've deleted all the videos I can. And I keep on running out of storage, and I keep on having to go back and delete more videos. And this is my fourth time trying to pick up where I left off. So as I was saying, I found that after like the 20 minutes of being really distracted, it was almost like this brain muscle memory would kick in. I would fall back into reading the same way I used to when I was a kid, and I could just spend hours and hours deep in a book. It's good to know that those old habits of mine aren't completely gone. They're just sort of dormant because they've been replaced by other less wholesome activities. The area I noticed the most significant change was not using my phone in the morning and in the evening. Even though I'm aware of how harmful using my phone in the morning and at night is, like I feel the effects. What am I trying to say here? Like I'm trying to express that it literally feels like the way I use my phone, it makes it feel like it's controlling my mind. I sound crazy, but am I crazy? I feel like if we use technology in the way that technology was meant to be used, to make our lives more convenient, to make things more accessible for us, then I wouldn't be feeling this way. But I don't think it's such a far-fetched idea to feel brainwashed when you have these huge companies specifically designing apps that are meant to keep your attention, to keep your eyes, and there's no regard for well-being from that side. I know I'm not saying anything groundbreaking, but very surreal when you have these moments of realization in your own life, but you continue to ignore them. I'll make this realization when I'm around my family and right before we're going to bed and everybody's just on their phone, and you can just hear like the cacophony of different reels playing, whether that be short form content on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube Shorts, or for my parents WeChat. But then, you know, I go on my phone and then I'm not listening and I'm not paying attention anymore because I'm also completely captivated by whatever's happening on my phone. And I also find that with technology and the way it was supposed to be made, partaking in that, I feel like your days start to take on the same shape and they start to lose novelty. I was having this thought because I really enjoyed going to the leather store, which is something I didn't expect, and it probably would have been a lot more convenient if I had just ordered it off Amazon. But because I decided to take the time out of my day to go to the store, it ended up being a really fun experience. It was an experience that was very memorable, whereas buying something online isn't. So that's all I have to say. This video is already too long and this lighting is terrible. What have I taken away from this experience? Reading hobby restored. Got to experience really cool art that my friends were creating. Felt so good not going on my phone in the morning and in the evenings. The feeling cannot be described to you. It's just you have to do it. Gained confidence in the fact that I haven't lost my attention span and I haven't become a worse and less smart human being overall. It's there. It's deep and it's hiding, but it's there. Made a super cool notebook that I've been using every single day, and it has encouraged me to stay more organized and to journal more. And it also made me really confident in my ability to make things because I was really scared to do this, and it ended up being amazing and I loved it. That is the end of this video. The conclusion is art is also such a great way to connect with other people and to witness your friends in a way that you haven't before, or in a way that you haven't in a long time. When I'm having a conversation with a friend and we're talking about a good book or a good movie, I fall in love a little bit, like in a platonic way, but I fall in love a little bit. I have a crush. I think in a world where other activities are becoming increasingly more convenient to choose, I think it's really cool when you still decide to take the effort to become better versed in literature and film and things that take longer to consume and things that require more critical thinking. And that is all. And I've rambled for a while now. And I think consuming art also is such a great way to become closer with people. How will you know how your friend feels about certain topics like love or friendship or different politics until you consume something together that remarks on it, and then you two have a discussion about it and you're like, oh, I did not think about that. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? I think I'm going a little crazy right now. I've been talking for too long and my phone keeps running out of storage. So much love. Go consume some art, girl. And it really is that damn phone.